There is nothing more powerful in the game of attraction than mystery. There is nothing more addictive for a woman than a man she cannot fully possess. I am Machiavelli, and I will tell you about something that the weak will never understand: the power of absent control. Because the man she can't control isn't simply wanted. He is remembered, he is persecuted, he is cursed on his pillow, while she wonders why she did not manage to subdue him like the rest. And the fact is that in the art of seduction, it is not about giving, but about retaining. Scarcity is more erotic than abundance, mystery more intoxicating than certainty. The silence of a man who does not allow himself to be manipulated is louder than 1,000 declarations of desperate love. You must not surrender. You must let yourself be seen and at the same time escape. Because desire feeds on distance, uncertainty. Why doesn't he answer me? Who is he with? Each woman becomes a slave to her own curiosity when the man does not respond to her tricks, her tears, her provocations. I ask you, does a prince give himself up to the whim of those who seek him? He observes, evaluates, and decides when to show his power and when to disappear. The man who cannot be controlled is the one who dominates the game, not with violence, but with subtlety, not with shouts, but with presence. And the most fascinating thing is that when she tries to control you and can't, she doesn't despise you. He wants you more. His ego prevents him from doing so, and that's where his obsession begins. Because what he cannot dominate, he needs to conquer. What escapes him, he must possess. And so, without realizing it, it begins to spin in your orbit. But beware. This is not about being cold without a cause, nor about ignoring for the sake of ignoring. It's about showing emotional power, because true power is not in shouting out who you are, but in making others wonder. An emotionally uncontrollable man is a free man, and that freedom makes her desperate, because it reminds her of everything she can't control. It reminds him that you're not like everyone else, that you're not available as an easy prize at the end of an empty night. You know what drives a woman crazy the most? It's not that you ignore it, it's just that you look at it and still don't give in, that you smile at him, but don't chase it, that you are close, and at the same time, you are unreachable. Every gesture of yours must be loaded with ambiguity, because ambiguity is the mother of fantasy. And when a woman starts fantasizing about you, you're no longer in her reality, you're on their mind. You'll stay there long after you're gone, and what persists in his mind becomes an addiction. Don't underestimate the power of silence. Silence well used is not absence, it is tension. It is like the edge of a sword that has not yet been used, but that everyone fears. Silence leaves room for her to fill in the gaps with her own thoughts, her insecurities, her doubts. And the more he doubts, the more he feels. The more he feels, the more he falls. And the more he falls, the more he desires you. Weak men seek to please. Strong men provoke, they do not beg, they do not explain themselves, they do not kneel. They know that he who dominates their emotions also dominates their heart. And no, this is not cruelty, it's strategy. Because cruelty is in giving yourself completely to a woman who has not yet shown you anything, on kneeling in approval. That is betrayal of your courage. True love begins with respect, and respect is only obtained by those who do not allow themselves to be possessed as just another object. So if you want her to obsess over you, don't give her all of you. Give it a part, but it hides the rest. Let him imagine, to doubt, to wonder why he can't have you at all, that they see you as an enigma, not as an easy answer. The man she can't control becomes her biggest challenge, and for many women, there's nothing more appealing than an emotional challenge that makes them feel alive, because control is boring but uncertainty ignites, and the more he tries to control you, the more he realizes he can't. Therein lies the core of desire, at that exact point where control escapes him, where logic breaks, where his emotions no longer obey. You, without raising your voice, without needing to beg for attention, you have become the center of their inner storm. But to achieve this, you must master an art that few practice: strategic detachment. It is not about being indifferent, but about being available only when you decide to withdraw at the most intense moment, so that his desire grows like fire without oxygen. Not because you are cruel, but because you understand that desire is stronger when there is interruption. As I said in my treatises, power is not shouted, it is demonstrated from a distance, with control, and above all, with time management. Because the one who knows when to appear and when to fold is the one who really controls the game. There is a primitive fascination aroused by man who does not react as expected, the one who does not flinch in the face of emotional power games. That man becomes an inverted mirror. He does not reflect what she projects, but forces her to face herself. And in that confrontation, the transformation of attraction into obsession begins. Women don't obsess over the obvious. The obvious is predictable. And predictability doesn't feed passion. What keeps them awake at night is not certainty, but the echo of a look that was not translated into words, a caress that never came, a message that did not respond. The emotional void you created becomes their psychological prison. And here's the secret that so many men don't know. If you fill that void too quickly, she breaks free. But if you keep it open, elegantly, with control, with precision, its mind will not stop looking for you, imagining you, rebuilding you inside. Every silence of yours is a whisper in his consciousness. This is not simply seduction, it's emotional engineering. Every word you choose, every pause you make, every goodbye you don't quite close, leaves a soft but constant scar on your desire. And it is precisely that scar that makes me unable to let go of the idea of you. You must understand that desire does not grow in continuous presence, but in intermittency. The dosed contact, restricted access, rationed care. That's where idealization flourishes. She begins to build a more powerful version of you than you really are. And that version is what consumes his thinking. I said it in politics, and I repeat it in love. He who dominates perception dominates reality, and you don't need to be perfect. You just need to sow the seed of doubt and allow her to water it with her imagination. When a woman begins to imagine you, you are no longer the one who seduces her. It's her own mind that pushes her toward you. And this is where psychology and Machiavellian strategy intersect. The more you offer him without him having earned it, the less he values it. But the more she does to get your attention, the more she will invest emotionally. And what it costs us, we protect. What challenges us, obsesses us. So, reverse the dynamic. Don't be the one to offer. Be the one who demands. Don't be the one who seeks. Be the one who selects. The one who makes himself beg, but with class. The one that seems close but vanishes like smoke just when she thinks she has it between her fingers. And when she notices that she can't anticipate you, when her logic no longer works for you, you activate something deeper. Instinct, because the man who cannot be deciphered awakens in the woman the desire to be the only one who conquers him, not out of love, but for victory. Because that's where the power game comes in. And if you know how to play that game, you become its pleasant downfall. Don't forget this. If you become the man she can't control, you're no longer just another one. You become their exception, in its anomaly, in that special case that defies all its norms, and that for that very reason it cannot ignore. Even if she tries to forget you, something inside her will always bring her back to the memory of your measured indifference, of your calculated absence, of your inexplicable magnetism. And then, when she no longer knows if she hates you or desires you, you will have won, because that's where the most obsessive love dwells, in the confusion, in the crossfire of emotion and helplessness. But be careful, this is not empty manipulation, this is emotional mastery. It is having the intelligence not to respond with the heart when the moment demands strategy. It is to understand that the most addictive power is not the physical or the economic, it is the emotional one. He who knows how to handle attention dominates desire, and desire is the most coveted throne in the female kingdom. And while she thinks she's seducing you, it's you who lead her like a general without raising suspicion, because everything you appear to give up, you're actually using to advance right where you want it to go. Every retreat of yours is a provocation, every silence an order, each limit an invitation to break it. You're not there to please her, you're there to fascinate her, not to be the good man she expects, but to be the unforgettable man she can never replace. The woman who feels in control relaxes, but the woman who feels like she doesn't possess you yet is activated. And in that activation, something more powerful than affection is awakened, obsession. Because true longing is not born of easy love, but of unfinished conquest. And you know what's the most curious thing? That she will never confess it. He will feign disinterest. It will simulate coldness. But internally, every move of yours that doesn't fit their expectations will be a small wound to their ego. And the wounded ego does not seek justice, seek redress. That's why he comes back. That is why he insists. That's why he can't let go of you. I observed this not only in the courts and in the palaces, I saw it in the eyes of princes' mistresses, in the desperate letters of women who could not break an imperturbable man. It wasn't love, it was power, or rather the desire to regain the control that you wrested from them with your impenetrable attitude. And this is where many fail, because they get scared when she seems to walk away, because they confuse their silence with disinterest. But you must not react, because he who reacts loses. You must understand that distancing is part of the game, that a retreat is not always defeat but strategy, because as long as you stand firm, she will wonder, why doesn't she chase me? Why doesn't he complain to me? What is it about this man that he doesn't need me? And when a woman asks herself those questions, it is already lost, because at that moment the desire changes form. It's not just physical anymore, it's not just emotional anymore, it's psychological, it's existential. You have become an unresolved question, and human beings cannot bear to live with questions. We need answers. That's why she returns. But you're not there to give him an answer. You're there to be the riddle that is never quite solved. Because the man who does not define himself, who does not explain himself, who does not expose himself completely, it is the one that takes up the most space in your mind. And the more space you take up in their mind, the less room is left for anyone else. You must move like smoke, to be present but never within reach. Leave traces but never complete traces, to be real but ungraspable. Because desire does not need truths. It needs fantasies, and you, if you are intelligent, will be the fantasy that cannot land in reality. She will seek to compare you. It will try to replace you. But other men, with their predictability, with their constant need for validation, will only reinforce what you stand for, contrast. And it is in that contrast where you become indispensable. Because once you've tasted the taste of the uncontrollable, the common tastes like nothing. And here, the final irony is revealed. It's not that you were perfect. It's that you never gave him the opportunity to destroy you like everyone else. You never opened up enough for me to fully know you, and for that very reason, he could not wear you down or forget you. You were suspended at that exact point between the known and the unknown, and there, at that point, is where the most addictive memories live. Don't forget this. Extreme emotions are not forgotten. The subtle pain of not being able to control yourself, the ambiguous pleasure of your intermittent presence, the constant uncertainty you caused, all that is recorded, and as long as other men are easy to read, you will be the only one who has not yet been deciphered. So don't look for validation, don't seek understanding, look for impact. Because the man who provokes an emotion that she cannot handle becomes unforgettable, even if he denies it, even if he moves away, even if I try to hate you. And finally, remember that there is no addiction without frustration, that the woman is not obsessed with what she obtains easily, but with what threatens to disappear before she can fully possess it. You must be that elegant menace, that emotional risk, that man who walks with a confidence that says, I don't need you to choose me. You need to understand why I didn't choose you yet. Many men believe that conquering a woman means convincing her, persuade her with words, flattery, promises. But I tell you, the deepest desire is not provoked by speeches, but with contradiction. Because a woman does not give herself completely to the man who is always available. She surrenders, without knowing it, to the one who makes her doubt herself. Yes, because when you don't react as she expects, it's not you who is exposed, it's her. And in that crack, in that microsecond of emotional bewilderment, your power enters. Because true mastery begins when she, without realizing it, begins to wonder what she did wrong. What part of his strategy failed? Why didn't you respond like everyone else? And there something is activated that not even the feminine logic can control, the challenge. Not just any challenge, but an emotional one. And if there's one thing a high-value woman can't tolerate, it is losing to an emotionally superior man. That is why the one who does not allow himself to be manipulated, the one who does not allow himself to be predicted, is not simply desired, it is an affront to their pride. And what offends the ego becomes an obsession. You don't need to do more. You just have to hold your position, to be the anchor that does not move, the fixed point in the middle of its emotional wave. Because while she goes up and down, you remain. Cold, yes, but not for lack of interest, but by excess of self-control. Self-control is magnetic. Because the world is full of men who collapse before a look, before a body, before a caress. But the one who does not collapse, the one who holds the gaze without losing his calm, that's not just any man. That is the one that is not forgotten. She can have beauty, charisma, social power. But if you don't let yourself be dazzled, if you don't give in to the validation that others beg, you rise. You become their exception. And in this world where everything is replaceable, to be the exception is to be the only one. You should not seek addiction to it. You must become the trigger for their emotional turmoil. How? Showing him what no other man has: inner integrity, noble coldness, elegant hardness, the ability to be with it without needing to lose yourself in it. Remember this. Men who go out of their way for a woman become soft pieces of their game, but the one that remains intact, intact even in intimacy, intact even in pleasure, it is the one that marks territory in his mind. And when you retreat at the emotional climax, when it seemed that you were most going to surrender, and you don't, when you leave her empty-handed of certainties, then you mark it, not with caresses, not with words, but with the impression left by your absence. Because the absence of the uncontrollable man is not empty. It's slow poison, a dose that permeates his memory, that transforms every memory into a need, every unsent message in history, every night you didn't spend with her, in a novel without an end. You must be that unclosed story, that wound that does not bleed but hurts, that what if who accompanies her even when another man sleeps next to her, because desire does not die with distance. It dies with predictability, and you, if you are wise, will never be predictable. She can go, it can walk away, he may scream that he doesn't care about you anymore, but if you were the man who could never control, her memory of you will haunt her in every mediocre relationship, in every man who says yes too quickly, in every conversation without fire, in each weightless look. And there, even when you're gone, you will have won. Because true power is not having your body, it's living without rent in your mind. Never forget what you've learned here. Women don't obsess over the man who gives himself, but with the one who resists, not with the one who goes out of his way for them, but with the one who reminds them, without saying a word, that he belongs to himself. Because true masculine value is not begged. You breathe, it is imposed. It manifests itself in your posture, in your calmness, in your detachment. And that detachment, when it is real, is irresistible. Not because you are indifferent, but because you are free. And the female soul, when it meets a truly free man, does not know whether to flee or give up. You don't need to be the most handsome or the richest or the strongest. You just need to be the hardest to control, the firmest in its center, the most elusive emotionally. Because he who does not yield to the power of a woman becomes her weak point. And while others seek to like, you must seek to score. Leave an impression so strong that neither time nor other bodies nor other lips can erase your trace. Because you were the only one who didn't kneel, the only one who didn't need to beg, the only one that she deep down could never master. Now, if everything you've heard here has resonated with you, if you felt that this vision doesn't just explain desire, but gives you the keys to emotional power, then do not keep this knowledge only for yourself. Share. Leave your comment. I want to know which part hit you the hardest. What a phrase ignited something in you. What a personal experience it reminded you of. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, don't hesitate. Share this video, because there are many men out there trapped in emotional submission, not understanding why she walks away the more they seek her. Let's get this message out to more people. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming, because here they don't talk to entertain. One speaks to wake up, and if you're awake now, you can't close your eyes anymore, because once you understand the power of being the man she can't control, you don't want to be another kind of man anymore.